Do you want to know more about renumbering and weathering your freight cars? Why don't you stick around and watch this segment and see how we did it on my N-scale model railroad, the Sayre Secondary. Hello everyone, Joe from Central Jersey Conrail and N-scale. Welcome back to the paint shop. So this time on the paint shop, what we're going to be doing is I had acquired a lot of Conrail hoppers, various hoppers, air slides, ACF 4 bays and ACF 2 bays, but they all had the same numbers. So I need to sit down and change the numbers on the cars. For me, it's very particular because during an op session, if you have duplicate car numbers, it kind of confuses the system. So really, it's an easy project to do, to get in there and change your numbers, and it helps out with your operations. So I'm not going to give too much away. Really not happy with this whole project. Not really happy with the video. Don't even know why I'm putting it out. To be honest with you, I just want to show you that, hey, not everything always turns out the way you want, but you just got to pick yourself back up and you got to move on. This segment is a prime example of that. Even though I show you the videos and it seems like everything goes right for me, occasionally I get a project that just doesn't go the way I planned. So definitely thought it's a learning experience for everybody. So I think everybody should watch this video, even though I'm not marking it as a success in my book. So with that being said, sit back, watch the video, and we'll talk to you afterwards. Okay, so the first step in this project is we want to remove these numbers from these cars. So I go to my previous go-to method, and that was some alcohol and a Q-tip to rub the numbers off. So after working on the first car, I quickly realized that the alcohol is not removing the numbers or softening the black ink. What it's doing is it's removing the gray paint underneath from the car. So I continue using various tools, a Q-tip, a micro brush, a bamboo skewer, to rub the numbers off with the alcohol. The alcohol had some effect. After a while it started to soften the numbers, but as soon as you started scrubbing, the gray paint came off right away. So at this point in the project, I already got like half the numbers removed on half the cars. So I had to come up with some kind of solution on how I was going to do it. So what I figured was, let's proceed through, get the numbers off, and I can go back and repatch it with paint. So then I realized that I didn't have the proper color paint to do what I wanted to do. Conrail used a light gray, and the closest match is the Model Flex SP light lettering gray, and I didn't have any of that. So I then thought I could mix something up to match the paint on the car. So the first thing I did is I used some primer to prime the patches, so at least there would be something for the paint to adhere to and not just the bare plastic. So in the bottle, the apple barrel light gray looked like a good match, but then as I put it on the car in the lighting, I could see that it wasn't even close, so then I'm just taking it right off with a Q-tip. So I had a light gray from Model Flex in my box, and I'm using some engine black to try and tone it down a little bit. I get it where it looks like it's close. I do a little test spot on the bottom of the car, but then it dries, and when it dried, it turned out to be a lot darker than when it was wet. So at this point I'm thinking, okay, it's close, it's not that bad, I can blend it together when we do weathering. Here I am getting started installing the decals. We're using Microscale's Conrail black lettering set. The nice thing about this set was it's made for all the gray Conrail hoppers, so all the numbers are appropriate for the classes and they're already pre-grouped, so I didn't have to cut and, you know, piece them together. So that's why I'm just using the one strip. So as I continue to work, putting the decals on, a couple of the cars, the decals have pretty much covered up the paint patch, so you barely notice in some spots. Other cars, there was, like the air slide, there's a big block of gray, and there was nothing I could do to cover that with the decals. I'm just working one car at a time, just going through and putting all the numbers on the cars. Here's a shot of the cars after I installed all the numberings on the cars. Now I'm just going to come in with some microscale, microsol, the solvent, and brush over the numbers to get them to stick down onto the model real good. Now I just take the cars to the spray booth and spray them with Model Flex gloss coat to seal up the decals. So I let the gloss coat dry overnight, and I take them to the bench and I weather the cars up with Bragdon weathering powders, and I seal it with Tester's dull coat. And here's the finished product. Okay, so there you go. That's how we did it. So I learned a lot in this video. You know, thought going into this project, I'm like, oh, this is an easy project. I've done it before. I know what I'm doing. Wrong answer. You never know all the right answers. You have to learn to just roll with it, listen to other people, and you pick up things as you go. That's what model railroading is all about. There is no exact science. There is no right answers. So let's talk about some of the things that we did wrong in this project. Number one, these cars apparently, I don't know how Atlas numbers their cars, but it seemed like the numbering paint, the black paint over the gray, was a lot more, it was tougher than that light gray paint. So when I went to go strip it with the alcohol, it ripped off the gray paint but left behind the black numbers. But of course, you know, after a little elbow grease and working through it, I was able to get it off, but it left this big block. So next thing that I learned, always have all the materials on hand that you think you may need if everything goes awry. I should have got that SP light lettering gray and had that in hand. Instead, I had to go to the gray that I had, and it looks like that block. So probably could have made it a little less, and it would have blended together if I had the right paint. So let's talk about the gloss coat. I went to go use the gloss coat in the airbrush and shot it, and of course it hit the whole side of the car because it's not that narrow of a strip coming out of the nozzle, and it just was very hard to cover that stuff up. Even with dull coat and weathering powders and more dull coat, it still looks a little shiny. So I've experimented with other projects that you'll see in the future, and what I determined is using Model Flex's flat clear coat with a brush worked much better. So again, another learning topic. Just want to pass it on so maybe you don't make the same mistake. So now, realistically, a lot of you are probably looking out there and saying, hey, it's not that bad. You know, railroads patch it out like that all the time. I was just looking for a more showroom quality finish, and I fell a little short of my goals. However, we got the job done. Changed out the numbers. Now I don't have duplicate numbers. Weathered up the cars. Sealed them up with the dull coat so the powders don't come off anymore. So we got some cars, more cars to add to the roster. So in that respect, we achieved our goal. Now the one thing that did happen out of this, and I will give you a little insight to what's going to happen in the previous coming episodes, is I posted these pictures up on Instagram and Facebook, and I got immediately come back with different solutions to try to remove the letters, and I found a winning solution, and I'm going to show you next time on the paint shop when we do our box cars. I'll show you what I learned. Okay, so with all that being said, that's all I have for this time on the paint shop. Be sure to subscribe to the channel if you're seeing it for the first time and you like what you saw. Otherwise, check out our Facebook and Instagram accounts because I'm always uploading pictures of what I'm doing every day. And other than that, I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.